There are currently 2 active tropical cyclones in the Pacific, which forecasters are tracking. Cyclone Mala is Category 3, has hit Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands. Widespread flooding has been reported, but the full extent of the damage not yet knowing. Far north Queensland is now bracing for Mala to make landfall there. Meanwhile, Category 2 cyclone Vaianu is gaining strength as it bears down on Fiji. So are these cyclones going to be strong? And if they are going to stay strong, will they hit New Zealand? Heather keeps Met Service with us. Heather,
oh my God, bruh. I thought I was safe over here in New Zealand the whole time. It's 2 cyclones headed this way. Not 1, but 2.
Morning.
Hello.
What do we know?
We know that tropical cyclone Vaianu is going to intensify across today. It will likely be upgraded to a Cat 3, possibly even looking at a Cat 4, too early to say, but it is going to track towards us and it's likely to impact us this weekend. Ooh. So we do have at the moment weather watches and warnings out. I want to be clear, that's not for Cyclone Vaianu, okay? That's for the current weather setup we've got over New Zealand at the moment, which is a subtropical low that's moved out of the tropics and that's got a front over the whole of New Zealand. There's another low pressure system off to the west coast as well.
Man, if you just look at New Zealand, bro, New Zealand looks so vulnerable to any natural disaster.
And so that's influencing our weather for the next couple of days. That's why Northland's experience heavy rain at the moment. There's an orange heavy rain warning for Northland today. Strong winds as well, east to northeast winds all over the country, but a wind watch is there for Northland. Plus multiple weather watches all the way through Bay of Plenty, Coromandel, Auckland, down to Tasman, northwest of Motueka. And that's because this system is dishing up a lot of rain bands. There's thunderstorms likely this morning too for Northland, but that's for the next couple of days. We haven't yet issued any watches or warnings for tropical cyclone Vaianu, but we will do as that system gets closer.
So it would be Vaianu that we'd be watching and worrying about, not the other one? No. So the other one, Mila, doesn't have any bearing on our weather. It is just tropical cyclone Vaianu at this stage. Okay. And what's Category 2 actually mean?
Very, very strong winds. Really strong winds. It's all to do with the structure of the system. It gets its fuel from the warm sea surface temperature. It's when you get that real clear eye in the middle of a storm. The thing with this particular storm, it's looking likely as it gets upgraded and then it starts to move over Fiji. Fiji will be heavily impacted by this system over the next couple of days. It'll then drop into our neck of the woods and come down over Northland and Auckland this weekend. It's likely it will still be a Category 2 cyclone, which is quite rare. Most of our cyclones, by the time they reach our shores, they've lost a lot of that juice and they've been downgraded. Still highly impactful because their structure changes, but this one's looking like it's going to hold its structure, which means incredibly strong winds, really, really large swell, and a lot of heavy rain with it as well as it tracks over New Zealand. And it's looking like it will track over Northland, Auckland, drop down over the...
Man, it's like every year is something going on with New Zealand's getting a flood from something, bro. I wonder if like work can be called off for a lot of people. So it seems like so far South Island might be in the green.
Like directly over?
Yeah, it is still very early in the piece to lock in a definitive path and exactly how deep the cyclone will be. But at the moment, the models are in alignment and it's looking likely that it will have quite a big impact on New Zealand. It is definitely one to be mindful of, especially with school holidays.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's this first video. I have another video lined up that New Zealand Herald just put out, titled so they're breaking down what a Category 2, what does that mean, and what, I guess this guy goes more in depth on what's going on, what potential hazards we have and everything. So I've never even been threatened by a cyclone, bro. This is, I guess, what comes with living on an island, man. 2
cyclone. Chris Brandolino, Earth Sciences New Zealand Chief Scientist. Chris, good morning.
Atamare, good morning.
What does a Category 2 mean?
So there is a scale going 1 through 5, 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest. It's basically to help us understand how intense a tropical cyclone is. 3 is a severe tropical cyclone. That's equivalent to a hurricane in terms of wind speed and intensity. So this is just below that, so at a Category 2. It's a useful guide, but impacts can be significant irrespective of 1, 2, 3, or 5. 5, of course, you get higher winds, things like that, bigger seas. And what we're looking at now on screen is a projection from a model that shows possible tracks of the tropical cyclone. So this is guidance,
Wow.
Ryan. So guidance is meant to guide forecasters. So really encouraging people to stay on top of the forecast with Met Service, because they're going to be looking at information like we just showed on screen and determine where that track will be. So there is an envelope meaning, if we went back to that animation or image, showing that the track could be a little bit farther to the west or a little bit farther to the east, as we'll play that through. Thanks. And so there is a bit of uncertainty as to exactly where, but the current information, most recent information, is for the center of the ex-tropical cyclone by then to to move, I should say, somewhere between Auckland and the Coromandel. Again, Met Service will have details on this expected
It
track
would
as we
be
go through
Auckland,
time, but
bro.
that's the indication right now.
And so, what sort of impacts? Because all of those lines, unfortunately, were in one way or the other pretty much over New Zealand. So, what
Yeah.
sort of impacts would you expect to see? River levels up, flooding, what?
Yeah, well, let's start with wind since we're looking at it. So I think one of the bigger impacts is going to be wind. So this is an animation showing, you can
Can
see the
handle that.
center of the cyclone now, but again, transitioning to an ex-tropical cyclone, it loses those tropical characteristics. That red you see, those are 100K wind gusts being forecast by a model. And this is the forecast very late Saturday evening. That's when the weather really
Yeah,
starts to
look at
go
the far
downhill for
north.
places like far northern and eastern parts of Northland,
Right there.
perhaps even the northern part of the Coromandel. So the wind will be one facet, Ryan. Wind gusts near in excess of 100 kilometers per hour, and not probably confined to just northern and eastern parts of the North Island.
And I can imagine, like, cause those roads in the far north and everything, I can imagine like a tree falling over and then that's stopping traffic, holding up traffic for a long time, because it seems like it's not too many what do you call that, detours from the in the far north, bro. Those roads, they kind of relying off of like only a couple main roads, man. So a cyclone, I guess, is like a small hurricane. I never really even, typically, bro, you only hear about hurricanes and tsunamis, bro. You never really hear about cyclones being threatening at all, bro.
This could be across much of the North Island, but I think northern and eastern parts will probably cop the worst of it or the brunt of it. And that wind is going to probably generate power cuts because of the wet ground. That wind will also agitate the sea. So this is a forecast of wave height, and where you see the red and especially that purple,
Man.
that's a forecast of wave heights of 10, 11, 12
Wow.
meters. So a lot of wind means, well, a lot of waves, big waves. And with that wave action,
And bro, is the far north about to get it, man? It seemed like the worst. But and then it's just an estimate, like, so it could really go any direction. And this is where, you know, they say luxury turns to lack of security fast, bro. Cause you got people who's living right on the beach, right at this edge right here. People living right here, and they might get it the worst. They might have to pay the most as far as damages and stuff like that.
of wind means, well, a lot of waves, big waves. And with that wave action hitting the coastline, especially around high tide, we'll have to watch the high tides probably sometime on Sunday. There are two of them, of course, each day. One will be early Sunday morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on where you are on the east of the North Island. And another one early in the afternoon on Sunday. It's that early afternoon one, perhaps, that could be the most problematic for the Coromandel, the Bay of Plenty, because those onshore winds, air coming off the water, big waves, high tide. And I'm going to get a little nerdy on you. There's a thing called the inverse barometer. So basically, the barometer measures air pressure. It's like a scale of the atmosphere, right? So when that air pressure gets lower and lower and lower, the sea is lifted a little bit higher, higher, and higher. That's the inverse effect. So that low pressure, the remnant cyclone, is forecast to move over New Zealand, the upper North Island, early in the afternoon on Sunday, near the time of high tide. So it's a long way of saying that is a particular time of interest for coastal erosion, maybe some coastal impacts, inundation. If there's something going to occur in that regard, it'll likely happen around that time Sunday afternoon. So that does bear watching.
Chris, you and I have been speaking for years about storms and about weather, and you know how stupid I am. On a scale of
Sounds
1 to 10,
Oh boy.
one being a puddle, 10 being Gabrielle, how concerning is this one?
It's very concerning. I'm going to duck your question. It is concerning. Look, I don't think we'll see as much rain as Gabrielle, simply because this is a fast mover. That is one thing that may save our bacon from being like really, really, really bad, is that this is going to fall within the rain we're looking at here. I'll talk about this in a second, but in about 18 to 24 hours, that's going to be sort of the core of the rain and the wind for any given location. Going back to that map, if we can. So this is an indication of what may fall in terms of rain. You'll see 3 panels. Now on the left, that's kind of if we get off easy. So that's a low end scenario.
Okay, so this is if we get off easy. So these are the possibilities. It doesn't look like it's about to be too crazy. It doesn't sound like it's about to be too crazy. But you know, humans make mistakes all the time. It could be much worse. There could be something else that makes it worse or something like that. One thing I don't want is just where I live at to be flooded with water, man. I've been seeing videos of homes in New Zealand doing that for a while, bro. They got like 2 feet of water, just like what we seen in the beginning of this video, man. First cyclone, kinda nervous.